let's talk. Well, let's Memorial Day too is those who remember that passed, right? That's so important. And I'll say that we were talking about our husbands the other day, and we were just like talking about like sometimes how we forget how cool they are and what cool stuff they do because we look at them like regular guys that can't find their socks, and then we're like, hey, yeah, So it's kind of cool. Hey, but with Kat in the room, this reminds me of something that let's start off with something kind of crazy. Are you with me?
Okay. Uh-huh.
So Virginia Beach, did you see the news? And I'm sure at Lawrence here, Black Virginia, Lawrence in the room too. Virginia Beach had a Nazi march on the ocean front. Did you happen to catch it? I mean, you're down in Norfolk. What'd you learn about that? Like, what the heck?
I don't have any words for that. I just tell you, I just say to you, it is just another flash of where we are today. And
Yes.
it is another opportunity for people to open their eyes to what is happening around us.
Well, I
That's
think
my
too. Well, I'm going to say, well, with that said, I feel like I thought that Kat was the one, and let's give her credit. She must be hanging out at Virginia Beach oceanfront. But she captured that on video and then made that live, and Lauren Burke reported it. But I think it has to go bigger and across Virginia right now. And I'm not sure how far reaching it has gotten. But yeah, I think that we have to see the moment we're in and it's captured. These people are marching on the beachfront. It's like, hello, people. This isn't what people do on a Saturday afternoon. You have some Nazi white supremacists marching, unless I get
and on Memorial Day weekend.
in
So
Memorial.
when we should be recognizing you know, all those the families who've lost, this is what we're doing on Memorial Day weekend. I'm
Yes,
just saying.
I'm just saying, and I'm wondering if what people think in the room is after we have this, we talked about this weaponization fund. I can't say it. That I was listening to Denver Riggleman, and he had a really good show about it. He just came on and said, "Look, listen, folks, wake up! Stop calling this $1.8 billion slush fund. It's 1776." 1776, the signal again that I'll say that you talked about, I think on Friday also with Bryn Tannehill, who wrote the fascism book. This is MAGA Trump signaling to everybody about the insurrectionists, the January 6th insurrectionists. And then all of a sudden you have these guys marching. Do you think there's something to that, a connection?
I do. I never think that anything that happens in the Trump administration is by accident.
Right.
I think that every single thing is a message or a signal to someone. What I worry about is that the powers to actually that actually do have the ability to be working on whatever you should be doing strategically against that are not paying attention. But
Right.
we have to pay attention. It means something.
Right.
And I think that and what it means is really, really scary. And I think,
It is.
when I spoke to some folks after Friday Power Lunch, later on, they did say that it was one of the more depressing, power lunches that we've
I
ever
guess
had,
we delivered
and that
some
they were
depression.
we delivered it. But what I also said to that person was, it is important for us to know that there are times that we have to talk about some really serious stuff, and we have to talk about it so we understand how to deal with it, and that we understand how to articulate it to other people so that they
Yes.
understand that this moment is not like any other. It's
No.
time to wake up.
Well, let's say we have this show and then you have footage of Nazis walking on the beach. These are people out in the open. They still covered their faces, but yeah, so there is we're really, deep into this fight right now. So I wanted to say that for this weekend, it was fun after we had the Friday Power Lunch, and I did get the same feedback. If anybody was on, we really went pretty rough into the whole fascism thing, but it actually, it actually feels like having a handle on it is important and understanding it because then you have a framework to say, okay, like even looking at the midterms, what we can possibly do, what we should care about, and what we shouldn't get distracted by. And when we talk about some stuff going on in Virginia, getting buried into all this stuff about the legislative session, yes, it's important. We need to talk about it, but we need to keep our eye strategically forward on making sure we stop this Trump administration. So let's make sure we get our shit together, right? That's where I know we are in that space. We like to kind of fight. We like to kind of wrestle around it. we also know, I wish our leaders felt the same way, where we need to go in the midterms. But I drove out to Shenandoah Saturday morning. Beth Macy is running in, now that the maps are settled, CD6. James Walkinshaw, my congressman in Virginia, was there and hosted this at a winery out there, which was fantastic. It was so much fun when I got there. I saw James Walkinshaw. I saw a lot of the crew, Gene Russell, Todd Thurwacker. I saw Brandon. I saw the whole team, Brad Skipper. It was so much fun to be in community with everybody. But Gene did say to me, that was a little depressing, the show. But why bring that up? To me, it was the anecdote to be in community, but to see James Walkinshaw, who's my congressman, going all the way out to Shenandoah to still stay and remain in community with another district. Not his district. He didn't have to go. And man, was it good. And he was going down to Page County. Then he was going to Edinburgh. Like, he is sold on Virginia's my district.
I love that, and I hope that we will see more of that. Um, we need to see that people are not gonna do what they've always done before.
Right.
It's time to do something different, and we always say, "And." You can do what you've always done, but you'll get what you've always got. But if you wanna get something different and better,
Right.
you can do that, but you gotta add some "and." So what does it look like for Virginia to do something different? Well, we did that when we had the Yes campaign. It was different. It didn't turn out the way that
Right.
we wanted, but we fought. It was something different to give us the ability, the ammunition to know that we can, and we did.
Right.
Now it's time to do something else, which is to look towards the North Star. What is the North Star for us? And what are we willing to give up to get there? If we don't win the House, and really, the goal would be the House and as many Senate seats as possible. If we don't win that, where do we go next? So I want people to tell me in this moment, of all the things that everybody's pissed about,
Right.
what is more important than that North Star? And what are you willing to give up on today in order to get that?
Well, let's ask, what are people willing to give up? I'm not sure. How about yourself when you think about looking what's ahead? How does that fit into what kind of give me a framework for how you're thinking about this?
So the way that I think about this is, if I said to someone, "If you gave me $10,000, what would I
Yep.
do with it in
Right.
my endeavor to get to the North Star?" And what I believe is that people have to really feel this moment. And I wrote a piece that I'll send out after this, and I described democracy like
Right.
air, that people breathe air in. You don't see it, you can feel it, but it's not really tangible, but you know you can't be without it.
Right.
And that's sort of what democracy is that it's all of the things that we use and enjoy to get the life that we want to live. But but we don't see it. So we don't feel it right now. But what we should know is the air is stinking. And after a while, we're going to suffocate because
Yeah.
we are not recognizing what democracy is. So we have to help people understand that, which is to show them the stench that's underneath right now. What does it look like?
Right.
What will it be like if we don't really start to understand that this democracy is slipping away from us and people are doing their own thing? They're sort of self absorbed into their life. They're exhausted. They're tired. They're living. They're doing. But we have got to pause. We got to pause and take a look at what's actually happening. And so that means we have to inform every single person about what this is and what they need to fight for. I need to say to Black America, the Republicans, the MAGA Republicans want to squash you like an ant, like you don't exist. And if
Right.
you don't stand up and use the power that you have, which is to engage and talk to people, talk to friends and family, ensure that they're out to vote, ensure that the passion is in your belly for what is happening, then we will not win. But that doesn't just mean Black Americans. That means our coalition, our allies. We all have get together and have to understand that this is a critical moment, the most critical moment in our lifetime. And it's time for people to start recognizing that. And that means to stop tiptoeing around the issues. And so to me, that's that North Star. When I think
Yeah.
about all the stuff that's happening in Virginia, all the things that we're upset about, that's somebody else's lane right now. It's not my lane. My
Yeah.
lane is figuring out how I can engage and inform to get people on track for the North Star, which is getting to this 2026 election in November.
Well,
That's
I
what I
wish
think.
yeah, if I had all that money, I would put you in charge of a lot of stuff because I do think
Put me in charge.
we're gonna put
Put
you in
me
charge.
in.
'Cause
Put me
I'll
in.
say the frustrating thing is the disconnect. And, when I think about right now what it looks like fighting and what we do know that people want to see, we've talked about this ad nauseum. They want to see fighters. This is the time we need to see it. And right now, in this spot, and I know it's a little frustrating because our party's having this fight. When you would think we'd be more organized and strategic, and that's what frustrates me. It's sort of not like um, it's just being kind of caught off guard that people don't have it more together at the top. And you can say it's a pile on, it's being critical. It's no, I think I'm kind of shocked, like that people wouldn't strategically get the moment, and we're only so many months out. And what does the DNC at this time being just silly sauce, like with the DNC that what do you call that autopsy report that
The
went?
autopsy.
I did listen. Did you listen to Hogue? Hogue was on a show being interviewed. David Hogg was being interviewed about it. Really good. I caught it because one of my favorite podcasters was interviewing him. I've had it. Those ladies that do, I've had it, and they're going all in on it. But unfortunately, it'd be great if we had the conversation a year ago. We had some sort of like, we really met the moment, had some accountability, and then put some really good leadership up there. And it's not a really great thing to be happening now. And then you feel like,
Yeah.
what the heck is happening in the DNC to be so silly and stupid in this moment? And we have to figure this out. And you and I can say all that you said, like we're going to concentrate on this. This isn't my lane, but it feels sometimes when it could get heavy on you, because they're important. They
Yeah.
collect money.
It,
People want to give money. Well, they're not going to want to give money to somebody that doesn't know how to do a talk report.
that is true. Let me say this.
Right.
Um, and I wrote about this, and so I keep saying that so you guys can read my stuff and
Yes, of
share it.
course, it's good
But
stuff.
but but what I say is I did write about the autopsy report. I didn't say very much about it. I just said that, maybe it was a good thing, maybe it wasn't a good thing. That's how Trump talks, Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad,
Maybe
so
it's
you
good,
can't be
maybe
wrong.
it's sad.
But maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. But I think that maybe it's not so good for Ken Martin because people wanna just, like, take him out because 'cause they're just like, "Why would you do this at this moment?" Trump's ratings are down, his approvals are
Yeah,
down. We ought to be elevating ourselves in every single way we can. But
it's all in front of
nonetheless,
us.
they did it now. I just don't understand that. My point also is this. We have been doing an autopsy since 2024. I mean, honestly, think about it.
We know we
Every week you can look at some report about what happened. I mean,
have.
it's been out there. But what I say about it is, yes, I can be upset about all of that, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not my lane in terms of all the
Right.
other stuff
We
because
can't
I can't
control it.
focus on everything.
We
My
can't
head just
control
won't
it,
take it. It's
but
just
we can't
my head will
control
be split.
we
But
can't
my
control
point
it.
is this is my point. My point
Mhm.
is this. Maybe out of this report, it's
You
really 172 pages. This is my first 35. But maybe somewhere in this report, there's a nugget of something
right.
that we in the grassroots can use and that we can see differently than other people see and say, okay, this is something we can lean in on. This is something we can do. First thing I want to do is go get some money from all these people who got all these millions of dollars for doing stuff that we do for free. So we know who to go ask for some money. But my other point is, yes, maybe we can find some clarity in some of these things. The point is, every single day is how do you never let a crisis go to waste?
There
And
you
so
go.
this is in fact a crisis. So what are we going to do? Not let it go to waste. But you are wasting it when you spend all the time complaining about it and talking about it, and then asking people to come and vote for us when we are so busy eating up ourselves. I'm just saying. I mean, you can figure that out. You can let this be a
Well,
crisis that wastes, or you can learn
right.
from it and figure out how you don't let people think we are insane.
Well, we are insane. So let me see what people have. Yeah. Margaret, how ridiculous to publish an autopsy with a footnote that they don't endorse that the footnote they don't endorse the report. That was the footnote.
Right here. Right here.
That's
It's on every
funny,
page. Right here.
Margaret. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Well, I think you said, Fennell, your gut will tell you the truth about our future direction, not that autopsy. Well, I tell you what we do know.
I
And I was thinking about this before because I was trying to figure this out, like, because I am interested in some of this, um, this kind of fallout for a couple of reasons. Because I think we already know the consultant class, all these people getting somebody to do a report that's so out of touch and a friend and that some old guy that wrote reports for Clinton. I think what we're witnessing, and it's hard to live through it, but we talked about this months ago, many months ago, maybe even a year, that we are as a society and as a people and as a party in a metamorphosis, evolution of sorts, and we're in the middle of it. That's why it's so nasty and dirty. We can't figure it out, and it's dumb. It's because we're sort of working our way through it. We have this old guard, this old thinking way, and the moneyed class that make money off of reports and doing stupid stuff and dumb ideas. They're still there. They don't want to go away. They don't want to give up their power. And that report kind of says it all to you. And they don't want to give you the diagnosis, which means they made some bad decisions. Biden should have never ran again. It's simple as that. And they should have addressed some really hard stuff face on, like the war, and immediately went after the transgender attacks and sort of addressed it and kept their brand kind of solid. That's it. Move on. But they have people that make millions of dollars off of this stuff. And we are in the middle of our party, like Parker running in Maine, and
partner.
Plattner. Sorry, yeah, Plattner. So you have the Plattners, you have the old kind of like Abigail Spanberger type candidates. You have Democrats are great. We have so many different types of us for different states, and we should sort of roll around with the richness of that and realize that, what we talked about this before we went on live, that I was listening to Sarah Longwell have talk about this heterodoxy about there's no more, we should leave the old ideology behind instead of saying, well, are we moderate? Are we progressive? And her argument is we're kind of moving toward voters are basically a blend of things that they really care about and want that don't fit neatly in either party. And you nicely said, I don't believe in any of that bullshit. It's all race. Like, fuck that. But I think you're right. It comes down to race, but it also, talking to voters, is that what we realized with Trump, he got a lot of Bernie ideas that he said, because people were sick of the Republican Party. So they're like, oh, he had a new brand of it. I'm going to be for the working class. I'm going to tax billionaires. I don't want wars. And people are like, hey, I like that guy. And he's a racist. Okay.
I'm glad you added that in. I was thinking,
Oh, and he's a racist. Okay.
so this is what's so wild to me, and this is why I have a hard time of going with that notion.
Yeah.
We ran a black woman. She can black and Asian. We ran this woman. And I, was fearful all along, because the question you have to ask yourself is, will white people vote for Kamala Harris? And so, will white women vote for Kamala Harris? Will black men vote for Kamala Harris? Because we did have, this 24% black people.
Yes.
Will Hispanic men vote for Kamala Harris? And you see, to me, if it's about people who are going to
Right.
do the right thing for you, then how can you tell me this man who let millions of people die during COVID,
Yes.
just the ridiculousness of it, a felon, a businessman who went bankrupt, I don't know how many times, says the most ridiculous things, says the most racist things, and we're going to believe that these people who voted for him because he was going to be so much better. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't make any sense. And so they can twist themselves into all kinds of things to tell me that it was this reason that they voted and this reason and that
Right.
reason. And I just refuse to believe it, because at the end of the day, why
Right.
is it that 92%, 94% of black people say, oh, he crazy? And all of these other people were like, yeah, he can fix stuff. And now we see exactly what's happening. And guess what? After we see all this is happening, still somewhere around 70 to 80% of Republicans are still with him. So you tell me what it is
That's
that
what
he's providing.
Bryn Tannehill said it. America has built in a just dummy built it. What did she say to that basically are the way that America's been built, we're a bunch of dummies in some ways. What was she kind of like uninformed? There was a pitch that she talked about with sort of the makeup of Americans different than Europeans in the sense of how much we know about history or the world, and it's kind of built that way to be uninformed. But I do want to say that Peggy in the room, but it's Margaret, uh, that she had a really interesting question or kind of she said that she's working on or building this very exciting group, building a platform to build independent online democracy. She calls it IOD. And then she wants to talk to us about that. But I think what she's getting at and what we're getting at too is that, yes, I'll reach out to you for sure, Peggy, is all the different ways we need to reach people and how we need to really you and I are so energized about it. If we had the reign of the world, how we and our team, obviously, to really reach people, the ideas, the messaging, the creative ways to really speak to people, to bring them along. But what are we thinking about? And I can't wait to hear about this online democracy, this IOD, kind of a not like an IUD.
So
Some kind
so
of birth control, but yeah, different ways to, talk about online democracy. I wonder what it'd be interesting. Maybe we'll
so
have to talk to her.
it will be. So Catherine, this is I want this to you to hear this because I
Right,
think it's really important. Uh, so nobody is right all the time.
right,
It takes a good group of people to put their heads together who are willing to speak the truth, who are willing to accept that their idea may not be the right idea, willing to accept that there are other ways to do things, willing to give grace to people to figure out how you get to a better place. That is how businesses run. That is how
right,
businesses thrive, the really good ones, accepting that no one idea is the one. They also accept the fact that the people who are closest to the ground are the ones where some of the best ideas come from, and then you implement them. And that is what is going to be required for us to do the work that we need to do. The only thing that makes me sad is that constantly we're being told, no one's coming to save you. We,
yeah,
the people, will save ourselves. So
right,
here we are, we, the people. And so we have all this stuff happening with the governor and people are unhappy, but they're the people and we're the people. So
yeah,
how do we put that together? It will take all of us, a coalition of people. All these smart brainiacs that I read on Substack and see everywhere and read them on all these kinds of things.
right,
We have to figure out how to come together and say, what is it that we need to do? And frankly, at this point, the the one thing that will matter the most
right,
is informing people and turning out a massive number of voters like they did in Hungary. Not that what Hungary is the end all to be
right,
all, but
right.
what was important was the number of people who came out to vote, and you can't overturn that.
Well, I agree, and I when we talked about, I made a little video on Saturday morning that I didn't post because then I'm trying to learn how to do that YouTube studio, so I was kind of playing around with it because I, like everybody else on Friday, felt the heaviness of not only the topic because it is really hard to really understand where we're at, and I mean, in our household, like everybody else's household here, my husband and I walk around and go, "What the hell just happened? Did you just see that shit?"
Mhm.
Like it's almost too much. And so you also know it's really serious too. I mean, you have the president down there at the construction site of that stupid ballroom, knowing that like weeks before he ever knocked it down, he was going to knock it down. He lied about it. You know, he's kind of figured out he can basically bulldoze anything and no one could stop him. Um, and so now you realize he's building a bunker, everybody. We know that. We talked about it. He said 6 stories down, it's gonna have all this stuff to like the military's gonna be down there because once he digs in there like a little ant, in a couple years, we're gonna have to figure out how to get him out of that damn place. So, with everything said, you know, with everything said, there's some serious stuff going on, right? And the American people, for the most part, we to focus people, it's the corruption, and we did talk about that. So when I made trying to speak to our audience and our friends was one, never to give up hope. That yes, this is really bad. And I think Bren was really very quite in a different place than we are. And I can understand when you're hiding out and you're scared for your life that you feel like no one could save you. So she's saving herself. But the hope is like a verb. Democracy is a verb. Hope is necessary because love is a verb too. Once we'll lose everything if we do lose love and community. And we know through the worst and the worst times in the world that this is what saved us. So I will hold on to that as my, preserve it. And it's not even Pollyannish. It's just the way I want to live. It's the way I'm going to choose to live. It's my power and my agency to live like that. And no one's going to take that from me. I'll go down eating my bolognese sauce with my friends drinking some wine. Fuck these people. You only have one life.
Uh,
And I'm not going to let these people take that. Okay. With that said, right? We need to tell people about corruption. Let's talk about that because you and I both think that's the winner is to focus on what they're stealing from us.
I do. I think it's corruption, and I think it's the evil. I,
Yes,
I think that there are 35% of the people who are just mean and awful. They're mean and awful. But I don't think the rest of the people are. But I don't think that we have done enough to show them. We've been so careful. We've been so careful not to offend, which is,
right.
the funniness of the article that I did, the double bird. It was
Double
supposed to be
bird.
funny, the double bird. It was supposed to be funny
It's
to
good.
just
I'm
say that,
using
hey,
that.
guys,
Yeah,
yeah, we got to do that. But I want to read something from Michelle Hornish, who we love,
I know.
who's going to be at the summit. But here's what she says. She says, states got 200 million to help rural hospitals last year. Rural hospitals year, which basically bought any red senator holdout support. His $1 billion ballroom is enough to give 5 states 200 million. His 1.8 no 1.776
Thank
slush fund could fund hospitals in another 9 states. But instead of helping tens of millions of people in 14 states, he
right.
helps himself and his friends. And so that is what's happening.
Yes, I do think that follow the money timeline. I like that, Peggy. Um, and it said, Sam Norton, we should be spending tax dollars on hospitals, schools, and free lunches. I agree. And I think that's where when COVID happened, and people saw that he couldn't do things right. I don't, again, why they would vote for him again when he was such an idiot, such a stupid idiot. But if they did, we can go on all day about that. But the corruption is really important. I see that the kind of stuff that they're doing could be something to our advantage because now Cassidy and Massey and all of them are now going to be different in the Senate. So he's lost allies, and then also Ken Paxton, he backed Ken
Yes.
Paxton.
Oh, Jesus.
So I think these MFers are going to kind of finally come from, but it shows you how weak-minded they are. I don't know what they want about that job they love so much that when finally they're really looking at the exit door, they're willing to come clean and be honest. It's really, I mean, you know what? We should write a history book now that they can read about themselves because we know what history looks like when you really want to, and which side you want to be on, right? They're gonna be on the worst side of history, but they may still stand up and we'll take it, but, this could really be interesting with the Senate.
Yeah, I think that we can. I think that it
Yeah,
requires work, and it requires us to sort of sit back. And quite frankly, I wish that our leaders would listen. I wish that they would just
right,
invite regular people to the table. I when we talk about Trump's ballroom and we say that, these folks will never see the inside of that ballroom, how about the folks who are at the DNC or the DCCC
right.
come and sit down with us and say, tell me what you guys are thinking. What are you feeling? How do you feel about things? And what I tell you is, I'd say, Hakeem Jeffries, I'm scared. I'd say I'm really worried
Right,
about
right.
what's become of us. And I really want to understand of all the things I hear, how are you going to help us? How are you going to make sure that we're successful? I want you just to talk to me. Have a fireside chat and talk to the people and say, we want you to understand what's happening, what democracy feels like to us and what we want it to feel like for you. Tell me what you have planned for us. Tell me where the monsters are and what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they're doing it, and tell me how you plan to fight. And let us, we the people, support that. Can you do that?
Yeah,
That's
and
what I'd like.
I would like to, and that's a fantasy, because one thing I do think where we go through this metamorphosis, I'll say, of our party and the kind of leaders that that we see kind of, we always say that we'll be bubbling up to meet these moments, right? I keep wanting, it's sort of like you keep wanting more from these people that sometimes they just really can't become because they're just not meant for that moment. So you can see new people breaking through and new voices breaking through that I think is going to really eventually carry us to this moment. Um, you know,
Catherine, it could be your voice. You
it
could be the
could
new
be,
voice.
it's all of our
It
voices
it could
here.
it could be it could be anybody. The
Of
point
course,
is that
of course.
they have to let those voices in. You know, we're listening to Sarah Longwell and blah, 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 but, it doesn't mean that what they
Yes,
say is the thing. The audience that she's talking to, the people that she's talking to, well, if you can tell me the last time she went and knocked on the door, I'd like to know that. Or the thing that I hate most, being on a phone bank, tell me that.
yeah,
Or tell me what we're talking to those people. We are those people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
how can you so what do you know about a Omni, whoever the people are she's talking about, the who or whoever's they are.
yes,
But, that's us. We're sitting around here. I'm not that person. The
right.
person that I am says, "I can clearly see right and wrong." Just that simple. It's not right to put people in concentration camps.
It's not right.
It's not right to take
No,
away voting rights. It's not right to have no reproductive freedom as a woman. It's not right to treat people who are part of a different community different. It's n
yes,
I don't need to be part
right
of a
and
community to
wrong.
know
I
that. It's
know.
just right and wrong.
Hey, and guess what? Marching down the Virginia Beach sidewalk in a neo-Nazi stuff with white
Not right.
supremacy is messed up. So I want to end on an interesting note if you'll let me, because I want to say that I'm really excited this Friday. Sam Soul's coming on. And there'll be fun. We haven't had Sam Soul, the delegate in Roanoke, on in a while. When he ran for lieutenant governor, it was really great to work on his team. That's where I really, really got to know Lynlee Thorne from Rural Ground Game, was being in that space. And I learned a lot about the whole damn state of Virginia by working on a statewide campaign. So I want to make sure people tune in Friday. And we're also going to have Bard's Alley bookstore owner Jen Morrow on, talk about some books, banned books, about some other. She'll also be at the Women's Summit. We'll talk a little bit about past authors we've had on. And I'm working on another surprise guest. I need to talk to you about that later. But I do want to talk about, as you sent me something after we had the back and forth about the kind of day we had on Friday with such heavy topic, about Jane Goodall's grandson on Hope After Loss. And I
Wasn't
did
it
love
wonderful?
that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? I felt like that whole idea really was helpful about what really hope is as an action. It's hope rooted in action.
Well, it was really beautiful because for people who know who Jane Goodall is with the chimpanzees and all of the stuff that she
Yes.
did, that her grandson is really continuing that work. And I don't have it in front of me. I wish that I did because
I
I
do
did
have it
save
in
it and
front
send
of
it.
me.
Can you read it? Can
Yeah,
you read
it's
what he said?
so Jen, what's interesting too, what I was didn't realize her grandson was African American.
Yeah, she has 3 African American grandchildren.
Yeah, I don't yeah, I didn't look any deeper than that, just looked at that he was carrying on her work. Her grandson is Merlin Van Larwick, and at a Change Now event, but the easiest it's he said, "The easiest way to misunderstand Goodall's message is to treat hope as a feeling." Listen to that, to treat hope as a feeling. He described her hope was closer to discipline. And I thought that's where I think when we talk about hope, when people say a feeling, it's closer to discipline. She used the image of a dark tunnel with a light at the
That's right,
end.
I light at the end.
The light did not come to you. You had to crawl
When to go
toward
to
it,
the light.
over obstacles and under them. Hope is rooted in action. So I felt like on Friday when we say to people, you got to have hope, they're like, well, I feel like shit. I feel so sad. I feel scared. Then I really loved what you sent me because it turned my head to say, what hope is rooted in action. You have to actually work toward the light. It doesn't come to you.
I now I remember why I sent that, because it's sort of like hopium with Simon. It's not just
Yeah.
hope as just this thing. The
It,
hopium is doing something with it, is the work to get to it. It is that, which is exactly where we are, which I hope is all the things that I'm saying about
right.
that North Star. that we have to wish to get to the start. And I was saying to Brent on Friday, like, "You're brilliant. You're brilliant. So
Brit,
don't let these people tell us what has to happen, that this is the thing. You
right.
can help us build the thing that we need to do. You can help us have the conversations that we're supposed to have. You can help us move other people. So you can still do it from Canada, but don't say that hope is lost for us because we're still working towards it."
Yeah, it's who that rooted in action just helped me figure out that emotion around it, that I thought it's kinda necessary when we think about it, that it just it's sorta like when you talk to someone who hasn't been married a long time, and they'll be talk how they talk about marriage and, you know, just they want this kind of perfect thing that there's somehow every day that life is gonna be perfect, and they're going that, "Well, things are bad, but it will get better." I'm like, "No, like, life is life." And I'll be like after living it a long time, I'm like, marriage like anything, relationship like anything, life like anything.
So, Catherine, my sister said that when we say 30 minutes, we have to do 30 minutes.
I know, and I'm ready to go because you know what?
What?
I have bolognese on the stove.
Okay.
Really?
So
Really? I have bolognese on the stove, and I'm hungry.
bolognese.
All right.
It's like a
So that's a good thing because I'm ready too. So everybody, Sam, great to be with everybody here today. We had Sam Norton. I love the Sam Norton because it makes me feel like they're related to you. Margaret, let's touch base. I have your email. I'll reach out to you. And yeah, we'll keep to our 30 minutes. And I'm going to go eat my bolognese. And love you all in the room. And Fennell, won't you have a last word? I always like to
so my last word is keep hope alive. No, I'm just kidding.
keep alive. We're going to eat bolognese.
All right. Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Love you all. See you, friend. Bye.
Bye.